Welcome back to the fifth video, I believe now, of this Python tutorial series. We just finished talking about all these different types of variables, and now I want to move your guys' attention onto a couple new things about user inputs and printing. And we've used printing a little bit just to show the output, just to show how the variables move and function. But we've never really dove deep into printing, and I want to explain to you guys how both of them really work. And so let me start with printing as a matter of fact. And so you could only print in a print statement, you could only print one type of variable. So you can't print 5 plus hello world, right? It'll cause an issue because you're printing an integer with string. You can't do that. It's going to error. A unsupported operand for integer and string. So what you could do is, let me just make two variables. X equals 5, y equals hello world. So you go print. You can't do this. You can't print x plus y because it doesn't know what to do. Both use two completely different functions. So what you want is you either change an integer to a string or a string to an integer. You want to put them as the same type of variable. And so you can't change this into an integer, but you could put this as a string, right? And so you could go 5 hello world, right? As an example, 5 is the number dot hello world. And that's basically it. It's the same thing with lists and tuples and all those different ones. You can't have a boolean, so you can't have like true. You can't do x plus y, right? Because you're using two different types of variables. Oh, you can? I didn't even know that, to be honest with you. But you could use you could change them into an str and a you could both change them into a string. And so you could go, x and y. So you go turn this into a string like this, 5, and this into true. So it should return 5 true as a string, right? And so you go 5 true. But that's you all I'm trying to explain is they have to be the same type of variable. And the common one people use is string in print statements. Because it's just very simple, it doesn't change anything up. And so that's what I want to explain with printing, but I want to explain user inputs. So let's say I have calculator, right? That adds two values up. X equals this number, let's just call it 5 have 5 for example, and y equals 10. You want z equals to be x plus y. And then you want it to be print z, right? But you don't always want it to be 10 and 5. You want it to be whichever number you want, right? You have something called a user input. And you just type in input, and that's how you get a user input. It says, and the string inside is just saying what you want to, like what you want the reader to see for you to input. So let me explain. You go enter the first number like that, and you could do the same thing for the y, just as the second number. So this is basically saying enter the first number, you type it in, you press enter. It's going to go to the second line. It's going to be enter the first number, you put it in. You go to the second line, enter the second number, you put it in. Z is what it adds to x plus y, and it's going to be printing z. And that's all it is. It's a pretty simple code. So you would think, right, it's going to be enter the first number right here. This is what it shows. Let's say we want 10. Second number, let's say we want 15. It's going to be 25, right? Wrong. It's going to be 10, 15. You see, inputs put the answer as strings. It's default as str if you have it. It's like an invisible str. So what you need to do is you have to have it as integers. And so you want to put the integer wrapping around the whole input, just like this. Int, just like that. So now we have 10, 15, 25 now. So that's just one thing you have to keep in mind. Inputs always default turn into strings, and you just have to change it into an integer or flow or whichever one you want. And that's basically it with user inputs. Yeah, so we just talked about user inputs, and we also talked about printing, and they have to be the same type of value or type of variable to print together. You know what I'm talking about? But for let's say you have x equals 10 and y equals 15, you could print since they are the same type of value, they're both integers, right? You could print them in the same line. It should be 25. It's going to be 25, but they're both integers. I didn't change anything to a string. They're just integers. But if I'm using different ones like z equals test, and I wanted to print like that, and I want to print everything, for example, it's not going to work. So I would have to change these to string, str of this and str of this. And now it should all work, but now they don't get added, right? So it's going to be 10 plus 15 as a string form plus test. But what we could do is if we wanted it to be 25, you could go 10 plus y inside one string. So these are both integers first, 25, then it gets changed into a string, and then it's the string plus this other string, 25 test, just like that. And yeah, it's a pretty simple video. I just wanted to clarify some things so you don't get confused on your, when you're testing and you're doing your projects and tests. And that's basically it. I'll see you guys in episode 6. Thank you guys so much for watching.